So with the Fallout TV show being firmly a critical success and even being greenlit for the second season before the first one even aired, I think it's fairly official to say that the Fallout TV series is a success, a resounding success. I'm not the only person saying this right now. That's a clear indicator that it's doing well. Video game adaptations are continuing to make an impact in the TV and cinema media space. Although, let's be honest, not all of them are quite The Last of Us just yet. Halo. And so, yeah, I finished season 1 the other day, and I really, really liked it. Like, it's a really well-made TV series, and this has come from someone who, despite being a gamer, I've only played Fallout 3, and am not super aware of the universe and the references that have been made in the TV series, but I still thoroughly enjoy it with a general understanding of what's going on. The budget for this really surprised me. It's got a decent budget, probably, I mean, from what I can tell, just by looking at it, it seems like one of the highest budgets any video game adaptation has received in the TV space. It's a really good looking TV series. The casting in this is also stellar. If there's one thing I really like in a TV series, it's good casting. Really, all three main protagonists cast really well. Walton Goggins as the Ghoul really stands out. Walton is one of those actors who I feel like you see him and you're like, oh, where do I recognize him from? And in this TV series, he really has landed a memorable lead, at least for me. And he's easily one of the standout characters. Maximus, played by Aaron Moten, is also a very memorable lead. He's actually probably my favorite protagonist in this series, just because his character is actually quite unlikable, and he has quite a unique story arc, and he has a very full story arc compared to everyone else. Yeah, and I like that he's unlikable because you don't get that enough without being a direct anti-hero. He's just kind of like, not the best protagonist, not the best good guy ever. Even the NPCs in this show are cast really, really well. The reoccurring pharmacist, like Captain Sparrow wannabe, he is cast really well and he's quite funny. Also, this guy, the Cyclops Overseer, hilarious. This entire scene, so funny. Great casting, really. And that kind of touches on what makes this series so good, I think, is that it is full of these really fleshed out, memorable characters, most of whom, or all of whom, aren't actually direct adaptations of characters from the game, but are more so adaptations of universe elements of Fallout, such as their take on a ghoul, their take on a vault dweller, their take on a Brotherhood of Steel character, and they've explored those possibilities really well. And these characters are, really fleshed out, and it works really well within the universe. And the series as a whole, actually, when you're going through the story, even though there is a lead goal in it, much like in the Fallout games, for instance, like in Fallout 3, where you're also looking for your dad, who's left the vault, as is in this TV series, you'll be distracted by many side quests, and that's what this TV show does. And in that sense, when you do come across these side quests in the TV series, it almost as if, the TV series in some ways is probably one of the better adaptations of what the gameplay in the game is actually like, as opposed to just being a translation of the narrative themes from the game. So that has to really be commended. There's this great YouTube comment that I screenshotted, which I feel sums up kind of what I'm saying, and it's it's a good one. By the way, this show really reminds me of the Twisted Metal series we got recently, which nobody really talked about, but I thought it was good. They're both black comedies set in the post-apocalyptic world, where they have to traverse an area. In Twisted Metal, it's to deliver something as opposed to looking for something. But it's kind of the same because in the Fallout TV series, they're delivering the head, aren't they? So they're very similar shows, and obviously both based on video game adaptations. Although you could say Twisted Metal very loosely based on the game, because that game was a combat-driven arena game, and in the series, it's more of an adventure that they go through, and really, really touch the combat arena stuff right at the end. But yeah, if you enjoyed Fallout, please check out Twisted Metal. It's not bad. I thought it was quite fun. And if you think about it, that's 3 series that we've had now that are all video game adaptations, all set in post-apocalyptic environments, and all based around having to deliver something, or just traveling through a vast wasteland. And they're all either good, great, or amazing. So yeah, I just thought that was a funny thing to notice. The only few negative things I can really say about this show are really nitpicky. Like, I felt like there was maybe a little bit too much jumping back and forth between timelines when it came to the Walter Goggins story, when it came to the Ghoul storyline. And then also they really overused the slow motion combat sequences with the 50s music playing in the background. Like once, maybe twice would have been fine, but it felt like it was a lot more than that. And by the time we got to the ending, to the finale, I was kind of over it a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of talk right now online about how they've sort of retconned something to do with Fallout New Vegas. I don't know too much about it, so I'm not going to comment on it that much. But from what I've gathered, that's not actually that true. Yeah, other than that, this is very much another home run in the video game adaptations that we've received recently. And, we were going through this phase where a lot of people within the games media space would say, insert name here is finally a good video game adaptation. And I kind of feel like that phrase is redundant now because we've had so many good video game adaptations, whether it's within TV series or films. I feel like we're finally at that point where nobody needs to say that anymore. It's not as common now to get a bad one, and even some of the more okay ones are still fairly decent. And we really have had some really great ones out there, such as Fallout, The Last of Us, Cyberpunk, Entry Runners, the Castlevania series, Arcane, to name a few. The Last of Us is out there winning awards. The Mario and Sonic films, making all sorts of insane amounts of money. And even the okay ones, the ones that would be considered okay by a majority of people, such as the Uncharted film, that went on to make a substantial amount of money. Like, that film has around 40% on Rotten Tomatoes in the reviewer score, and it made insane amounts of money. So it'd be interesting to see what Sony does with the follow-up to that film. We are truly in a new age of video game adaptations where, they're turning out to be pretty good. There's a decent amount of budget and time and effort and consideration placed into them, where we're really starting to see the rewards of that. And I'm all for it. Bring it on. We've been getting some good stuff recently, and I'm looking forward to what else is coming out there. We've got the God of War TV series as well as the Horizon TV series on the horizon. God of War in particular has actually been also made by Amazon, so considering how good the Fallout TV series has been, I cannot wait to see how that ends up being. That's it for this video. We're going to end it on the phenomenal intro sequence in the first episode of Fallout with the bombs dropping, which has to be one of my favorite opening sequences to any TV series ever. Until next time, my name is Mark, this is Magic Beanbag. Stay happy.